A third-party tool told me that my client should target dog supplements. They said it had 500K monthly searches, but I said, F that. Instead of going after dog supplements, we identified calming chews for anxious dogs. It only had 12K searches and a 31% conversion rate. And then we increased spend and helped this client go from 69K per month to 180K per month in the last 6 months. I wanna make a quick tutorial here on where to find your search core performance report. And then I'm gonna walk through how I pull that out via API, how I use data warehousing, and how we systematically use these into our AI, it's such a buzzword, our artificial intelligence systems, and we connect those to data feedback loops, and it's very complex.
It's complex.
I'll first focus on one thing at a time, which is showing you where to find search core performance reports. So you can open up Amazon, and then you're gonna wanna click on the top left hamburger, go down to brand, and then you wanna click on brand analytics. From brand analytics, you're gonna want to go to the search analytics at the top right, and then you wanna hit search query performance. Now what this is going to show us is we have a weekly views, we can do quarterly, monthly. I like to look at it quarterly. I think that lumps a lot of things together. That way we can really take a look at what's going on. But I do look at this on a weekly view when I'm optimizing as well. But from a very high level, first time looking at it, I suggest taking a look at the quarterly view. What we're going to want to look at is the different terms, right? So we have different types of terms that we can look at, and then we can understand the search query, we can understand the funnel, the clicks, the add to carts, as well as the purchases. And what this information does is allows us to identify what keywords should we be targeting based on how we're currently performing in the market, which is immensely helpful. Even if you're not spending more money, you want to improve the conversion rate and click-through rate, then you want to index for these words and continue to grow. So when you look at the whole Amazon approach, really, really important to take a look at the data, right? So we have search funnel, which is going to be your very top. It's going to be, how much query search is in here, what's your total amount of impressions, what's the total amount of your brand share per keyword. And then from there we can understand, what is your actual impression share, because that's going to be really important for us to understand the top component. Once you get an impression, are you getting the click? After you get the click, are you getting the add to cart? After you get the add to cart, are you getting the purchase? So these are the different buckets. And what happens is if, say, you are getting the click when you get the impression, they are adding it to cart, and they are purchasing it. If we can double your impression share, your whole funnel is gonna double. So I like to start at the top of the funnel and then fix down, because that typically unlocks the most growth. But it always is gonna depend on your brand. It's gonna depend on your variable. Where is your bottleneck? Is your bottleneck the clicks? Is your bottleneck the add to carts? Is your bottleneck the purchases? And this is what this data is gonna show you. And it's gonna show you what you're relevant for currently. So we're gonna be able to identify different keywords that we want to get after and be able to build our strategies around, which is really, really helpful. And since we can do this from a weekly basis as well as a monthly basis, we can track what is going on in the market from a keyword perspective. So I want to go through the different signals that help us identify the different types of traffic. If you want to know how this keyword analysis becomes part of an 8-figure Amazon brand strategy, you can download our Scale Playbook. I'm going to drop the link below. It's the complete breakdown. We have all the AI tools that we're utilizing, the exact research processes, campaign structuring, everything that you need in order to implement into your business. If you're doing over 50K a month, but you want more, it's definitely going to be something that can help move the ball forward for you. This year, I've spoken to around 300 Amazon owners that are at 7, 8, and 9 figures. And I could count on one hand the amount of people that are actually utilizing the search term isolation supplemental report. I'm gonna break down exactly how to pull that up. So what we're gonna wanna do is you go to your advertising, and then from there we wanna pull up like 4 bars here, I'll put it on the screen. And then from there we want to click on sponsored ad reports, create a report, and you wanna do search term impression share, generate the report, and then name the report. And then from there, what we're gonna wanna do is download the search term impression share report. And what we do is we upload this into an Excel sheet. We also upload the search query performance into an Excel sheet so we can see both. And when we leverage both of these and centralize them into an analysis, it helps out a ton with understanding what do we actually want to do with this data, and connecting all these points and finding the patterns that allow us to scale is something that really, really helps us go to the next level. Starting from top of funnel, we have total impressions, we have your impression share, we have the total clicks, the async clicks. And then from there, we'll be able to see what your market share is, what your click share is, what your market click-through rate is and what the ASIN click-through rate is. And then we can keep going, and the same thing for each different part. So what's your add to cart versus the market, and then what your purchase are from a keyword perspective. Another sheet where we do the overlay of SEO as well, plus the CPCs, and then really understanding what is the full picture for us from an algorithmic standpoint. And you can see here, a lot of these words we want to rank, but when we look at the distribution, they're not in exact, they're not in phrase, they're not in broad, they're only in auto. Then we want to look at the impression rank. So what's the impression rank, and then what's the impression share? So a lot of these words, if you're low in impression rank and you have good click-through, good conversion, and we should be ranking for it, that means we can increase spends, typically speaking, right? So this is going to show us a lot of different opportunities that we can target in order to identify pockets, horizontally scale different campaigns. And this is all free data that Amazon gives us when we're scaling products. It's just a matter of taking that data, building it into a way that we can actually interpret it, and then applying these different strategies that we're using, from impression to SEO to understanding the creative implementation, to give you the best chance at really scaling your brand inside of Amazon. Now, when we zoom out, we understand from a granular level kind of what the search query performance plus search term impression share report overlay gives us. We have a lot of strategic timings that we want to utilize. So targeting Q1 keywords during Q4, for instance, like these are things that we can do, taking a look at the previous year's Q4 for when Q4 is coming up, understanding the patterns. It's pretty simple. It's just find the patterns and apply them. And the more data, the more experience you have, the more you're able to apply the patterns. I think the issue with a lot of brands is they don't have that data. They don't have the patterns. They don't have the understanding. In my opinion, a lot of what you're seeing here has now been incorporated with artificial intelligence and self-improving feedback systems. So all the data we take, we understand, and then we build creative based on a lot of different variables. Like we're scraping 50,000 reviews per product, and we map out the intent in the market, like what are they looking for, what do they not want, what do they wish they had, and then we build the marketing based on the search query performance into those specific words in order to take over the market from a creative standpoint. Utilizing all this stuff really gives it quite an unfair advantage. And when I take a look and audit most of the brands, I think the most common thing I find is they don't have a really solid SEO keyword strategy. Like they don't understand the exact words they should be targeting. Their PPC is not in sync with what's going on. I saw one guy who was targeting like a competitor brand that was just not converting at all. And I think they spent like 10, 15K. It was the total waste of money. So we also want to understand like what are window shopping keywords, what are ready to buy keywords, and you want to really be focusing on intent over the search volume. And intent changes. So like when we go from Q3 to Q4, a lot of times the intent for specific keywords goes up substantially. And there's like this period where we'll spend, and then all of a sudden the spend gets way more expensive, but then we get way more profitable because the conversion just shoots up. So understanding the intent and like how keywords work, especially on seasonality or Q4, is really important. And the search term impression share report and the search query performance report is really, really helpful for being able to understand all that. We want to target ranking 1 to 6. And once we hit ranks 1 through 6, do we really need to be spending as much on those keywords? What happens when we bring the spend down? Can we stay there organically without continuing to put a bunch of money in ads? There's a lot of variables in there. Same with 7 through 14. Just the way that the placements work is when you're at 1 through 6, you shouldn't be paying for top placements. You should move your spend depending, a little bit, because you're already on the page, you're already getting the impression. So we need to really understand how everything is in correlation to the SEO strategy, because it affects how we spend on PPC. People do cross cannibalization where they're literally spending where they're already getting impressions and they show up like 3 times on the page. It's like, what are you doing? Who's in charge of your ads? So you really want to ask when you're working with growth partners, you're working with businesses, who is going to be managing my account? Who is going to be on top of my things? It's a really, really important thing to understand. From rankings 7 to 14, they're not as profitable as 1 to 6, obviously, but after you're ranked 14, 15 in most niches, the amount you get per keyword drops substantially. So we really want to make sure SEO is focused on the right keywords, the right structuring. And if you want anyone to even kind of see your products in the first place, you need to be there, because after that, you're past the average consumer scroll. So finding these keywords that are gonna earn you 100K plus per month per product. It's not rocket science. Amazon gives us all the data. You just need to know how to use the data, use the right keywords in order to literally scale and take your product from where you are to the next level. If your brand is doing over 50K a month and you wanna break into $1 million months, book a call, let's chat. I'll go through your brand. I'll give you a full breakdown of what I think, my perspective after scaling over 50 brands, doing over 200 million in sales in the last 3 years. So I'm very active in terms of taking brands to the next level. And I hope you found some value in this video. Look forward to chatting with you, and we'll talk soon.